Good afternoon, everybody. It's Jason Wampler. It's another episode of the Rocket Minute. Um, anyway, it is Thursday, the 20-something of May. I'm in my teacher's uniform. I don't have to wear shoes because you can't tell I'm not wearing shoes. Anyway, let's chit chat just a little bit about what we got done so far. So here is Student Rocket number one. We're going to, oh, that's unfortunate. I'll take that off. We're going to go ahead and get the motor out like we always do. I think we might take a traditional approach to making the motor for this rocket instead of doing anything terribly fancy. I have a little chunk of glue in the end of it I've got to get rid of. I'll use the Dremel tool to do that. Although, I did something to the Dremel tool. I hot rodded the darn thing, and I've got to put a potentiometer and an on-off switch / potentiometer on it because it screams. It turns really, really fast. I run 18 volts instead of probably I don't know. I have power supply, but I didn't see what it's rated at. That little tool, because they were too cheap to use a reduction gear to get more torque out of it and give it a larger power supply to give it more voltage, more speed. With a reduction gear, they would slow the arbor speed down, but with the reduction gear, it would gain torque for cutting power. Well, if they weren't so cheap, they would run a larger power supply with running more DC volts on the motor. But because the motor can take it, and then run a reduction gear like a drop gear or a planetary gear set, which would be way too expensive to those cheapos, instead of including all the fancy attachments, which they don't need to do, and take the money from that, put in a reduction gear on it, put a larger power supply on it, make things scream, and have some torque like a real Dremel tool. You don't have to put like a variable speed on it. That does cost, because potentiometers are they have microprocessors control them. And microprocessors do cost a little bit of money, not that much. But these guys are making all the wrong decisions. You got a what do you call it? You got a really fancy box full of a bunch of drills and bits and attachments. They couldn't put any money into the tool. So I'm trying to figure that one out. I don't suppose I will ever be able to. It's not the way I would do things, but then again, que sera, sera. The whole kit costs less than $10. Well, a little over $10 with tax. When I get some more cash together, I'm expecting a large check. So I'm also getting paid on Monday of next week. Then I may end up taking some of that money and investing in a real Dremel tool with a real power supply, and having a cutting tool that'll work that way, instead of buying a bunch of fancy tools. I can spend $30 to get a Dremel tool that actually works. But those are my engineering changes. I hooked up an 18-volt power supply to it with a removable AC power cord, and I went to straight shot the wires, took out the switch. I even drilled some cooling holes in it because those motors, they have brushes, and of course brush and armature. It arcs, and when you arc electricity, it generates a tremendous amount of heat. Plasma Plasma is very, very hot. Well, they don't have any cooling holes or ports in that tool. Again, that doesn't make any sense. So the underpowered, undersized power supply, no cooling holes, no reduction gear to add torque to the tool. But they have all these fancy attachments. I like the box, and I love the attachments. These are wonderful. The box of goodies itself is worth like maybe $10, and maybe another $10 for the tool. Maybe if they doubled the price and went to $20, which is between $10 and $30, they said, well, we got to charge $20 because we had to make these changes and explain that. But like I said, and a little bit longer handle, larger power supply, cooling holes, the reduction gear, leave out the fancy attachments, and still price it. You can probably still price it around $15. So it's you don't get the attachments. I hardly ever use these things at all, and you maybe still price it at $12.50 to $14, and you get yourself a nice little Dremel tool with reduction gear with cooling ports and with adequate power supply. Maybe they want to move the price up to $20 and add a potentiometer and a variable speed on it. There you go. For $20, you have something made by Warrior, which Warrior good products. They replace Drill Master, which I appreciate. Drill Master made okay products, but Warrior, I've never had a problem with Warrior products except for this particular Dremel tool. And there you go. Talk to marketing and advertising. Tell them, look, engineering comes first. We make a good product, we'll give it to you. It'll be easier for you guys to sell. We'll make your job easier for us, or we will make your jobs easier for you. So, but anyway, just my thought. I'm starting to sound like Scotty Kilmer, and I don't want to do that because Scotty Kilmer has the right to be Scotty Kilmer. I don't. Anyway, my name is Jason Wampler. This is another episode of the Rocket Minute. I cannot help spout off the mouth at aspects of engineering because I myself am an engineer. So, anyway, so I wanted to.
It's very hard to understand you all.
Okay, so we finished this head-end unit. We're going to leave this as is. This guy right here, we need to come. Tell you what we're going to do today. So, I was tempted to go ahead and start painting the main fuselage section of, oh, there it is. I thought this was stuck in it. This is the anchor spool. Okay, so we're going to do two things today. And it just occurred to me. We have two more tasks to do. Today's going to be kind of a short video. You know what? I always say that and it always ends up going overtime. So I just get so excited doing these videos. Okay, I'll wash this guy off or wipe this guy off a little bit. Okay, first thing we're going to do, we're going to get a drill and a drill bit, and we're going to drill very, very small holes in these bulkheads. These spool plates, or spool rings, or spool discs, or whatever you want to call them, because that's going to allow discharge air from our motor system for the separation charge to pass through. We're going to put a steel mesh baffle in between. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and sacrifice the steel scrubber I've had probably about 3 months. It's whittled down to a little bit of less than nothingness, so we're going to go get that. So excuse me while I get the drill and the drill bit to go ahead and drill these holes. We're going to make small holes, but enough for the air to pass through. See, look. So you know air is going to pass through, but when we put holes in it, obviously we'll create a passage for air, for discharge air, separation charge, pressure, form of air pressure, to pass through this to the top of the rocket. Oops, I'm sorry, top of the rocket, that way. And then, of course, push the top of the rocket off. Then, after that, I'm going to keep the drill. I'm going to get smallest barrel saw, smallest holes to catch I get my hands on. We're going to start cutting up that orange plate, and we're going to sand down and glue those pieces together. Put that on the top of this and start sanding down the side of that to complete the nose cone. However, we're not going to glue it in place, and I'll tell you why. And I kind of did make somewhat of a regrettable mistake putting this screw and washer in place, because that would have been the perfect location for a threaded counterweight, and so we make the tip, the nose cone piece, and then of course we cut this short and put the nut like an acorn nut, an acorn nut and a washer on the end of it. That's the tip of the rocket. We take that off with the upper nose cone piece, and then we get in here and we unthread. We unthread. We're going to have to thread it. And we, you don't even need to thread it. You can thread it or you not thread it. We unthread the counterweight. Now the counterweight can be unthreaded, and it can be made out of blow molded glass. It can be made out of porcelain. I wouldn't recommend anything too brittle. It can be made out of a very, very heavy ABS plastic. Anything that provides the weight needed to get the center of pressure correctly in the rocket vehicle. That's the center of balance while the rocket's under power. First phase of rocket's flight, which is under power, which is called power phase. Anything to get the center of pressure correctly, the center of pressure correct on the rocket vehicle has to fit in this area, has to fit into the nose cone tip, and again, it has to accomplish that goal. Now here's the catch. It has to be centered. It cannot be offside. It cannot be favoring one side or the other. You will actually show. My goodness, why do I stop yawning? When you put something at the tip of a rocket, it's the same concept as setting up payload in a launch vehicle, a 10-story, 15-story launch, 20-story launch vehicle, something that costs $130 million. If you do not balance the payload properly, if you do not get everything actually absolutely AJ square as per sections, perpendicular to the long axis invisible line of the rocket vehicle itself, section by section by section, transverse wafer by transverse wafer by transverse wafer or section. If it's not perfectly balanced all around, in other words, you can take that wafered section, that wide disc section, put it on a spindle and spin it on a spindle that's at a runs parallel with the ground, and both are level, centered and level. And if it can't, once that disc spins, it can't favor one side. You keep turning it, and it just comes to a slow stop, but it counts at different positions either side. That disc is perfectly balanced. Same concept as balancing a car tire or a motorcycle tire. And I saw a video the other day of a guy balancing motorcycle tires, and this guy's awesome. Shout out to that guy. I don't know if I can do that because I don't remember the name of the channel or his name, but he looked like he knew what the heck he was doing. But the principle is the same. Now, obviously the profile of the rocket is round. Rockets don't necessarily, they don't necessarily roll quickly like wheels do. But all the same, because it's round, it has a circumference, has a diameter, has a et cetera. Because it's round, it needs to be balanced on all points. The entire, in relation to the entire transverse section of the fuselage itself, that invisible center line running down the middle of the fuselage of the rocket itself. Why? Because in heavy maneuvering and twisting and attempting to escape Earth's gravity at 18,500 miles an hour, I tell you what, if something's going to go wrong at 18,500 miles an hour, it's going to happen very, very quickly. So we're dealing with critical tolerances for a vehicle that's operating in very, very critical, very harsh, very demanding work environment. Normal work environment from a launch vehicle is enough to pretty much tear any other man-made object on the face of this planet into little bits and pieces and shreds. Space travel is extraordinarily dangerous. It's so dangerous. But people don't really talk about it. If everybody did, NASA would be shut down. But anyway, I don't even want to get into that. I'm all for the danger. I'm all for space travel, but the technology needs to move forward, needs to progress. Anyway, so that's that. Okay, so like I said, what I want to do is, now we've gone past lecture, I've got to go get several tools. I've got to get the drill, the block sander, the drill bit, and the hole saw. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull out from our spare parts bin in the green cabinet, the famous green cabinet, sacrificial plate. I love these things. Oh, that's right. If we're cutting circles, guess what else? We get the magic stick, because I don't feel like boring more holes in my sacred $40 Walmart special table. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to finish up with fine tuning. The other night when we shot the video, I was really happy with the amount of progress we made with this. I'm just kicking myself. I know I need a one and a half inch hole saw is what we work with, and it always delivers undersized parts. So these are not quite centered. This rocket is not going to exceed between maybe 200 miles an hour at around 1,000 to 1,500 feet. So I mean that's still an extreme altitude, and obviously I don't want to go up that high without a parachute. But all the same, if stuff is at least a little wobbly going, it's not a controlled surface, or it doesn't control the dynamic long axis balance of the rocket. Doesn't affect CG or CP, or coefficient of drag for that matter. So I'm okay. But if you can see here, this is offset favoring this particular side of the circle, internal diameter, and I see up here on the top, this is favoring that side. Well, the circles that I cut are I hate to say this, about 2.5 millimeters too small for the inner diameter of the fuselage material that makes up the rocket itself. I'll point in that direction, so if I'm always saying front, it's that way, if I'm always pointing that way. So it just, that just kind of bugs me a little bit. Lowe's Home Improvement Center and of course McFadden have a very, very expensive version of what I need, which is a 1 5/8 hole saw to get the exact size to fit this particular diameter of thin-walled body tube for these rockets. So guess what? I'm gonna have to go ahead and invest $30 in a 1 5/8 inch hole saw. It's got a metric equivalent, because the 1.5 inch is just a little bit too small. That extra 1/8 of an inch will give me that 2 millimeters that I need after I cut it, deburr it, go through trial and error, and what speed to use the drill at, and drill the holes, and make a huge mess, clean my carpet with the vacuum, freak out the cats, feed them dry food, refuse to vote in the next election, etc., etc. Boy, my neighbors were lazy during the day. I thought somebody was knocking on the door. Anyway, so that's my life story. No, so anyway, when I get paid on Monday, I've been getting a fair amount of money on Monday. I am going to do several things. I got to get some parts for my vehicle, the tire, the right rear side about to blow out. Thank goodness I'll get that taken care of, and do a little servicing and repair on the car myself on Monday, because I drive the heck out of that thing. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead. I have to invest in a 1 5/8 hole saw. Nobody has a 1 5/8 hole saw. 1 5/8 hole saws are not included in the small sets. They're included in the large sets. I don't want a large set, because I have all the hole saws and arbors and drivers and attachments I need, all the used stuff and old the derelict and decrepit stuff that still works. I've gathered over the last 10 years. Actually longer than that, because I've been building rockets for 23 years. Going on 24. So that's it, guys. So there's sometimes you need a tool, but there's just no way around substituting. And that's pretty much it. I could get a 1 3/4 hole saw, but then be spending a long time sanding the damn thing down. You go from 1 3/4 down to 1.5 inch. Or 1 5/8, that's 1/8 over 1.5. So 1/4 minus 1/8 is another 1/8. You start removing 1/8 material over 1/8 material from a radius of a disc and cut by machine. Eventually the circle is going to get flat spots, because again, the movement of your hands, the restrictions imposed by even sanding imposed by the human bone structure, and the way we're built. Human beings are not machines. We're biologics. We're not machines. So you grind on material off. If you're gonna take 1/64th off, 1/32nd off, 1/16th off, that's fine. But no more. If you take more than that off on a circuit cut with a hole saw, guys, you're gonna end up with a piece that's not even close to round. And guess what? You go into fitted, it's gonna fold it, fit in sideways, and it's still gonna push the post offset. I should be drawing a picture of this. Better yet, I'd like to somehow someday these videos set up PowerPoint to show you what I mean. But again, I need to generate more cash. Now it seems favorable that I'll be getting a large check in several months, and I am going to be getting another source of income, which is great because I'd like to funnel it into increasing the production value of this show because this is fun, but it's also important. It's important to me and it better be important to you. I'll be right back because I talk too much.
Checking the registers now to identify which keeper it was.
The one from the privilege. FN 2187.
Stop. That's 10 o'clock. Fire. What's coming towards you? Left, your left. Nice shot. Where are you going? We're going back to Jackson, that's right. We can't go back to Jackson. We need to get out of that shit. I gotta get my Troy before the first order does. What is that, Troy? That's right. The BB unit, orange and white, one of a kind. I don't care what color it is. No Troy can be that important. This one is. As long as far away from the first order as you can. Go back to Jackson. We die. That Troy is a massively straight Luke Skywalker. Oh, you got me.
Alright, I swear to God, I wasn't. Sorry about that. I didn't need to leave for so long. Did you miss me? There we go. Look at that, man. It's kind of bright. It's right up. Where we at time-wise? 22 minutes. I sure can talk. Now, can Alright. Hey, minds are really tidy. Hey, you notice I'm shooting at a different angle today. The other close-up angle, I kind of might end up going back and forth between that. I do not want to vacillate between black and white and color. I shoot the shorts in color, but the actual doing of the work, the actual videos themselves, I want to be careful to go ahead and shoot everything in color. Interesting. Watching another movie right now. I won't say what it is. I won't be in violation of copyright infringement. Okay, so now we'll put this here. Get a small drill. These are these look like 1/8, but they could be 3/16. 3/16. Oh my God, no, 3/32. Oh my God, 2/16 is 1/8. No, wait a minute. 2/16 is 1/8. 3/16 is 1/16 over 1/8. Okay, these could be 3/16. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really care. I go by the rule of proportions. Rule of proportions dictates or states that if it looks correct, like it's at the right angle, the right size, in relation to another part, if it looks like it's going to work and it's well thought out and well engineered, it will work. So sometimes the design and the conception come before the research and the test models and the calculations and the math. Somebody who was an engineer once told me you don't want to get locked up in what's called analysis paralysis, because computers do not build rockets. I don't like computers a whole lot. I think people depend on them a little too damn much, and I should talk because I live by my smartphone. Obviously I'm living by it right now. pull that air because I'm going to need more. Doesn't this look fun? A lot of work. Labor of love, I tell you what. Okay, this is phone cord charger. Not like you really need to know that. But you probably already do. Okay, make sure it's turning in the right direction. Okay. Now I'm just going to leave this on the spool because I can hold it and drill it. However, what I do want to do, you need to blow up the middle of this table. Come on, sweetheart. Okay, where is that sucker? Oh. Hold on. Here's the crack of the table. There's this little piece in place. I think I have it too tight. Yeah, I think I have the table pushed up too tight. Okay, so you have to figure enough air force needs to come through these discs, these bulkhead discs, to push the top of the rocket off. The other thing is, what I am going to do today too is I'm going to sand down this particular section of the coupling. Sanding job on this coupling as well is not perfect. It's offset as well. Oh well. I built up a shop with machines that work better than humans. I will increase my production quality. Anyway, okay, so here we go. Just visualize a hole and just try to get it just started. That makes Okay, when you're drilling holes, the best idea is to drill one 180 degrees off of each other and just kind of continue that pattern so you have an even number of holes. And then drill a hole opposite one another. Visualize a flat plane going through the center line of the hole, the center line of the eye bolt in the very middle, and the center line of the drill bit. And that way you'll have as correct as a line of hole as possible. Not accounting for the fact that the damn drill walks on the material, so none of what I said is going to be relevant. I tell you, now you just can't get a good drill bit. If you want to get a drill bit, if you want to get good drill bits, you're going to have to spend probably about $10 a piece on a drill bit for anything under a quarter of an inch. Anything over a quarter of an inch to almost like say 3/8, it's going to run you between $15 to $20 a piece. A good drill bit set that just hardened steel, stuff doesn't wear out. It's got a tip that's fluted all the way. It's got it fluted all the way to the tip. So the moment you set it on the surface of a material that softens the drill bit, and you turn the drill on and you drill it, it already starts a pilot hole, and it keeps itself centered in the material instead of the drill walking all over the place. So again, an emphasis on the fact that you do get what you pay for when you get cheap tools. I gotta be honest with you, I think I should be kicking myself in the butt for that. It's my fault for being so ridiculously underfunded, but that's just how it goes. You can afford what you can afford, but the moment you can afford to get good tools, go ahead and do it. By the way, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment too. I need to monetize this channel. Here we go. We're going to do some more here. Here we go. One more. It walks like crazy. We're going to get in about 8 holes. Okay. I need a table vise, a really cheap table vise. Since I've got this and this, I'm gonna get one like a suction cup vise. I'll maybe put it here. But then again, suction cups vices they're kind of, I don't know. You still have that spongy suction cup base. So I'm gonna get something with a C clamp on it because I don't know. At 53 years of age, I'm able to restrain myself and my temper and my awful tongue. But the problem I have is from time to time, if I forget that I'm on camera, and I revert to my normal self, I will say a few cuss words. This is a family channel. It's not necessarily made for children, but it is not meant. It is not meant to be a racy channel either. We don't talk about religion, politics, sex, drugs, weapons. Definitely not weapons. Nothing we do here is supposed to be weapons or weaponized. So I need the file too. I should have gathered tools before, not after. I want you to see. Let me do the other one, and I'll show you the up close detail. It looks okay. I just like to get these things as perfectly asymmetrical as possible. It looks like only this one hole here is off, but that's okay. So I got 8 holes that I was able to drill. Now let's go ahead and do this again. Yeah, I guess the other thing I'm going to buy on Monday is a table vise. I gotta bow this table to do this, and it's a little frustrating. You know, at one point in time, I got some used tools from a state where the individual passed away, and they would clean out their tools in their garage. Or somebody was, an estate lawyer or a relative, and I had a vise, and for whatever reason, I just got rid of it. I felt I was always going to be working outdoors, outside, out of the back of my toilet station wagon. Well, here I am inside. It's easier to be indoors and shoot these videos. You can control the sound, you control the environment. Stupid idiots don't come and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know, and I don't get kicked off of Home Depot property. I'm still boycotting them. I will continue to boycott those idiots. Anyway, oops, said I wouldn't do that. So here we go. This is kind of like shaving with a hacksaw, but you get the point. Remember this one? It's kind of toggling back and forth. Sort of a looser fit. I'm doing the double four square approach. You know, interestingly enough, that went quicker. I took less painstaking care. I was less timid, and it almost looks almost perfect. There's one hole right here that's off, but it almost looks symmetrical, like a machine did it, and that is absolutely wonderful. Don't worry about this much, guys. I'm going to be vacuuming up after each. Yeah. Okay, so I gotta go get the. I've got to get. I have to go get a file. Hold on a second, you guys. Yeah, put these walls on there too. Now this is where, I'll get the light there. This is where the camera position from number one over here on the green table comes in handy. I just wanted to show you the detail. Look at the, where the hell? Okay, pull it back. You see those holes? See those holes? There's 8 holes on each disc. That's where the discharge gases, separation charge, the black powder charge, at the end of the rocket motor, it's gonna blow air through, so that you can push the top of the rocket off the bottom of it, and thus by deploy the recovery system, cover the rocket safely. I think that's how we're going to do it. But we might end up using commercially made motors for its first flight. In fact, I'm thinking that would be, of course, accessibility and wisdom to do that. I just remembered I got to get something else here. Hold on. All right. Okay, so I moved the this free floating phantasm now. Oh, kicking on the outside. That's okay. That's what I was doing. Very old steel wool pad. No. If we don't patch this up, the propulsion cap will overflow and flood the ship with poisonous gas. Yes. Smart girl. Really smart girl. I like her. None of your business, that's why. Well, I'm not entirely sure I want to use this. Guys, I'm having my doubts about using this material. It's steel. It's stainless steel, which is why it doesn't rust. Of course, required if you're going to be using it to scrub plates, food off plates. It sounds like Valencia's complaining about the food. Well, you know what, folks? Let's hold off on this. I need to think about that. That's one of those. This is one of those instances where I'm kind of going back and forth. Ideally, what I really want is a brand new copper or copper scrubbing pad. But I'm thinking steel wool might not be a bad idea either. So I'm washing off the burrs on this, or wiping off the burrs on this, I'm sorry. Excuse me. So we've got the file. So building up a cache of tools. Hey, there's one of my favorite actors. YouTube has kind of made sure that I understand that copyright infringement is a serious business. So I just kind of see, guys. I know this is painstaking, but this is just kind of how it goes. We want this rocket to run right, or run right. If it were a vehicle, yes, it would run right. No, it is a vehicle in a sense. We want this rocket to fly right. We want everything to go properly. I'm just sore that I have to spend $30 for 1 5/8 hole saw. I just can't. This stupid little 50-cent piece of metal with some cheap paint on it. Someone wants $30 for it because the packaging is fancy and the rent at the hardware store I have to get it at is very, very expensive. Like I'm supposed to have sympathy for something like that. Anyway, okay, well, I did make a miniaturized air compressor, but I screwed up on it. It was really neat. It was an air mattress inflator for for an airbed. The airbed itself is and the mattress were completely defunct, and I guess the design of the pump was deregulated. It was no longer up to I guess medical standards. So I guess the design's been changed to a different type of pump for air mattresses on airbeds in hospitals and rest care facilities. So I was able to get this one for free off Craigslist free. I husked it. I actually put a couple of very inexpensive bicycle tire compressor pumps in it, and a bunch of reinforced vacuum hose with some zip ties. And again, I ran a super duper heavy duty power supply for it because I came into like a cache of like I have like 30 or 40 different power supplies given to me by one guy on Craigslist, free stuff, and that thing was awesome. But you know what I did? I screwed up. I gouged, I gouge cut the hose near the one compressor, and it's not a removable part, so I used another one. I intermixed parts, and I realized that the design of the compressor was not standardized. I mean, they just, they make stuff like that for $10. They just use whatever part they can pull off the shelf and match it with some gears. Well, the gears are too tight, so the compressor motor they wouldn't turn. The gears were too close together. So I ended up having to throw the dumb thing out. I tell you, it was beautiful. It was wonderful. I think I had two power supplies going to it, and the thing, because I had two compressor pumps, and the thing screamed. It was, I mean, I originally had it working fine, then I changed those gears because I changed the compressor pieces, and I had stuff glued together, so I had to mix and match parts, and the damn thing didn't work. So, guys, with engineering or re-engineering, reverse engineering, or getting a car and souping it up, getting a rocket, souping it up, hot rodding stuff, it's an engineering effort. And I got to tell you, if you think something's going to take 2 weeks, I'll guarantee I'll lay down money it's going to end up taking you about 2 years. Oh, it'll just take a couple weeks. You end up working on that car for 2 years just to get all the kinks out. You change one thing, change everything else down the line. Anyway, okay, so I'm wiping off this spool.
Good to see you.
Anyway, okay, so I've got this spool cleaned up. In the comments section, if you folks have the stomach, watch these videos all the way through, and you're not too vitriolic or hateful, you don't hurt my feelings that badly. If you got any suggestions for what type of material I can put in between here, act as a cooling baffle, please like and subscribe to this channel. Leave a comment. I've been asking this for weeks now, and nobody's commented on anything yet. I had two comments. One which was pretty disdainful and hateful, and I don't need that kind of crap. If you're drinking, if you're a heavy drinker and you're doing drugs, and you're just kind of skipping through channels to chance my mind, and you just want to say something hateful, keep it to yourself and say something hateful to your girlfriend. I don't really want to deal with dysfunctional people, right? And drug addicts. And I'm not kidding. I've had my share of alcoholics and drug addicts living in the same roof with me, and it's not fun. It really isn't. So save your comments if you're going to be like that. But if you have some helpful technical comments, if you have questions, instant questions, there's no such thing as a dumb question, but you might regret not ever having asked that question to begin with. So don't have that type of regret in your life. I might actually end up leaning towards recovery wadding, which is basically the way everybody else does it. The problem is this eyeball right here is where the attachment for the lower shock cord section is going to be. Now those discharge gases from the separation charge gases that come from the end of the rocket motor after the blade grain is completely burned out and made contact with black powder, which is GOEX double F or GOEX triple F, smokeless gunpowder. Remember those 3 words: smokeless gunpowder. When gunpowder explodes, it generates an uncomfortable amount of heat, enough to melt your flesh. If you're in close proximity, it's going to leave a scar. It's going to burn you. Pure third degree burns where you burn off the top layer of your skin. If it burns that hot, I don't want it making contact with the base of the nylon shock cord, or maybe I need a cotton shock cord. But cotton burns just the same as nylon. Nylon melts, cotton burns, which is right here. I want the primary cooling to be here, but again, I don't know. I need some technical suggestions in the way of comments, so hit the comment button and let me know what you think, okay? I mean it. Viewer participation required. Okay, you get bonus points. I get a couple extra stars for that. Okay, so now what else do we say we're going to do? I tell you exactly what we're going to do. And you're going to kill me for this. I got to go and I got to get another pair of pliers. We got to put the stop screw and washer. We got to take that out. Now, CA, by the way, super glue does not bond any type of metal pretty much at all. Metal the surface of metal is too solid, too non-porous. When you first of all, any metal object, it's either machined or it's cast. If it's cast, it's not going to have any surface pores. That's just not the nature of how metal flows and casts. If it's machined and it's machined flat, it's not going to have any pores. It's not going to have any valleys. It may have some micro scratches from the turns of the machine that made the part. But the surface of metal is usually cold and it's non-porous and it's fairly smooth once you get it under a microscope, reduced down to a certain number of power views. So the glue really has nothing to bond to. You can use stuff like the steel epoxy, which is gray colorized hardener, extra hard epoxy. That stuff will hold up for 10 to 12 cycles on any metal surface, 10 to 12 cycles under pressure, normal working environment, and then it'll fail. Guaranteed. The stuff is very well engineered to fail at a certain point. And it's not steel, it's colorized epoxy. Epoxy kind of sticks to glass. Epoxy does not stick to metal very well. Cyanoacrylate, maybe I'll be, I don't know, maybe I'm going to be eating my words on this one. I got a couple little chunks of CA. Well, I got this one chunk of CA right here in the end of the motor, and it seems to be fairly well bonded. But all things being equal, when you're going to bond metal with another surface, I've got to be honest with you, adhesives just kind of aren't going to work in that application. If you're using two extremely dissimilar materials, you can't really bond rubber. You can vulcanize rubber to metal, but it needs to be kind of a stationary, non-dynamic application. Glue. What did they say? Glue is a polymer. Glue, cyanoacrylate is like a petroleum distillate polymer. Plastic and metal don't mix. They don't alloy. The same as wood and clay doesn't mix. Plastic and wood doesn't mix. Glass and plastic don't mix. Glass and steel don't mix. So we have glass, plastic, steel. We have glass, plastic, metal, wood. You have cotton. You have fibers. You have fundamental different types of materials. Carbon fiber, Garolite double X, and Garolite triple X, which is also known as Bakelite double X and Bakelite triple X. You have fiberglass, and G10 fiberglass, American G10 fiberglass it's unbeatable. You can't get anything better than that, except for maybe sheets of carbon fiber and Kevlar, which requires special handling. But materials fundamentally dissimilar materials won't alloy. Cyanoacrylate and polycarbonate are meant for each other. That is a marriage made in heaven to last to the next 5,000 years. You can weld brass to cast iron. Again, metal on metal. Brass is very, very distantly related to anything in the metal family, but you can use it to weld cast iron. Cracked cast iron you can weld with brass. Aluminum, you have to weld with aluminum. So if you're going to bond aluminum to aluminum, guess what? You either drill it, tap it, run a screw in and thread it, or you secure it together with nut and bolt made out of, guess what? Aluminum or steel. Something that is stronger than the aluminum itself. That's it. Or you can weld it. Now, aluminum welding is an art form all into itself, and that's like something that's way beyond me. I still don't know how to weld. I can maybe tack weld. I can solder. I've done soldering before. But what I'm saying about dissimilar materials, you can't glue a metal part to a plastic surface. It will not hold. You have to machine the two parts, machine made it together in such a way that the profile of the one part has a profile that matches that has a matching mating profile on the other part of two dissimilar materials. And then on top of that, then you have to run the nuts and bolts and the fasteners. You can't glue plastic to metal. It just does not work. It doesn't work that way. You're in violation of the laws of physics. So I know I'm doing a lot of lecture and very little action. So what else are we going to do? I remember, now that we've got the spool, the steel wool, I think we're going to leave off on that. We're going to figure that out. We've got this spool done. And put that in there like that. We're going to set this behind us, the main body of our student number 1 rocket, and the motor itself, which seems to me would be no big deal if we just ran the motor housing back in and be done with it that way. Although I gotta do a cutesy beauty trim on the tape shim. Get this out, the drill, the holes on the plate. I've got kitties that are meowing at me to get in the house, and I think they're scared. It sounds like Paxton the fraidy cat. Let me make sure. He's gonna cut. Yeah, just barely, I think. Maybe not. Hold on a sec. Let me let Paxton in the house because he sounds like he's freaking out. And upstairs neighbors are making a lot of noise. He's scared. Come on, dude. Paxton. 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 Is that you, Paxton? Paxton. Come on. You want to come in? You get afraid? No, I'm just leaving the front door open. I'm shooting though. Don't bother me, dude. Okay. Well. Sorry, folks. If you can hear me, that's great. I made another mistake, but not necessarily a technical one. I made a mistake in a strategy. I got all these tools. I am not going to use that particular hole saw. I'm estimating. I think that it actually be too small. I want to be cutting holes that are. By the way, I got this tool too, the deburring tool. I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Jack who?
So here we go. This circle saw, I think, is our best bet. However, dilemma. No, hold on a sec. I'm sorry, guys. I'm kind of going back and forth. I shouldn't be doing that. Then again, I'm human and I'm old, so that's my excuse. No, maybe not. You know, look, hold on. Let's do a test run. You want them in? You can go for it. Come on in.
Chewy's working on the farm.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone should be right, basically. Cats. Okay, let's do a test run with this small guy. I don't have a whole lot of faith in this thing's ability. Okay, no, I don't want to make the same mistake I lectured you about. The one not to mistake. Although this it's interesting. This is a Milwaukee arbor for hole saws, and they seem to machine the ruts almost all the way up to the base of the arbor itself. So you can pretty much drop it into a the drill itself. I'll put that up there like that. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Okay, anyway, we'll get the plate. Well, tell you what, it's retracting from my dinnerware, but both the cats and myself have plates to eat off already. Who cares? Alright, here we go. Alright. Now, I'm not promising anything. This is a very, very old circle saw, by the way. Okay. We pull something out, pull it back out. Just doing a test run, so let's see how this bad boy works. Get it going in the right direction. Right direction. Okay, so wow, that is dinky. That is micro miniature. And see if that outcropping on it too. I always look at the smallest diameter of the cut. I don't know. These plates aren't at 50 cents a piece. I'm thinking these plates may not be the best deal. What's that? Sounds like something full.
There is no fight against the first order. Not one we can win. Look around. There's no chance we can be recognized already. I bet you the first order is on their way, right?
Yeah, you know what? I am.
What's this? What are you doing? So, what is she doing? If you live long enough, you see the same eyes in different people. I'm looking at the eyes of a man who wants to love me. You don't know a thing about me. Where I'm from. What I've seen. You don't know the first order like I do. They'll slaughter us. We all need to run.
Good song, Finn. Okay.
You see those two?
Huh.
Make one more transportation to the outer rim. There you can disappear.
Tip of this pilot drill. is dull. It's the other thing about old circle saws with old arbors. You know, after 10 years, the drill will dull. Reverse the drill. Pull it out. Okay. I like this a little bit better that went into the tool, so I'm not going to have that that outcropping to deal with. I did remember to bring a pick with me. Guys, again, I'm kind of worried, not so much about the aesthetics, but the entertainment value of this channel. Again, you know, you'll forgive me, I'm kind of new to this. I know that building a rocket seems tedious to some. If that is the case, then maybe you want to consider just getting a commercially made kit. Get yourself to a launch meet. Get yourself to a launch meet that way. But you know, if you're the type who likes to take the time to design and build things and do it right, then keep watching my videos. I'm not exactly sure how big or how small my audience is going to be, but if I want more upvotes and if I want more comments and I want more subscribers and viewers, I know for a fact that somehow, some way, I'm going to have to boost this channel's entertainment value. Okay, so here we go. This does not have any rims on it, but it does have a crown on it. I tell you, I'm not using this material the way it was meant to be used. If this is injection mold material, it's not meant to serve as material to go on the rocket's nose cone. So, and see how we do into that. Well, okay, well. Yeah, they're just barely too small. I've got to be very careful with these red funnel sets. Great setup. You know, I just remembered something. I was going to do something before I loaded these wafers on and started sanding them down. And that was get the freaking needle on this plier and pull these parts off. Excuse me. This is being the last run, and we're going to call it quits after this. Interestingly, look at the shit. Cats, they don't know if they want to come in or not. Oh no, oh no. Oh no. Oh shite. You kidding me? Well, I just made a mistake.
I should have put him there. That lightsaber was Luke's, and his father's before him, and now it calls to you. I have to get back to you.
All right. Well.
Dear child, I see your eyes. You already know whoever you're waiting for comes through. They're never coming back. But there's someone who's still cool. The belonging you seek is not behind you. It is ahead. I am no Jedi, but I know the Force. It moves through and surrounds every living thing.
Okay. The reason I'm quiet, I just screwed up. I just made a big mistake. I loosened up that spool. These parts are glued in place, so that means I cannot tighten things up. Well, see, guys, again, I'm constantly embarrassing myself and making these stupid mistakes. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll cut that, we'll cut that. Let me file this down. I'm trying to sand this down. I'm in short supply of supplies. Poverty sucks, I tell you what. Weapons today is build that for nonsense. Okay. This guy on the sandpaper.
First order take time. Where's Ray?
Alright.
What are you doing? Amazing.
Sorry, I'm so silent here. Just kind of concentrating. I kind of created a situation. I come across as somebody who knows what the hell he's doing, and I make mistakes like this. My goodness, dude. No, just see a picture
Good
in
question. For another time.
the dictionary.
Take it. Find your friend.
It says common sense. You see a man closely resembling my uncle. You see a picture of idiot savant in the dictionary or any magazine, and be a picture of me. I tell you, Jason, you just. Well, the good news to come out of this is the fact that I'm able to center the top post, which is critical. The bottom post is just for anchoring. The top post, however, is a different story in that. Oh, shoot. You know, guys, you build something from scratch. You're bringing something to life just from pulling an idea out of the middle of the air. And you are in for a hell of a surprise. You're actually bringing something to life. Kind of like you're an engineering god. And all the craziest things in the world happen. And you're absolutely positively not expecting. Okay, we're going to center that too. You know what? I have an idea. Alright. So I'm just going to go for broke.
Friend, BB-8. They need you. Now, go! I need a weapon. You have one!
I'm getting dangerously low on glue. I can manage that situation. Just, this is actually, you know what I'm thinking? This is a blessing in disguise. Forgive the religious terminology. I'm able to center both posts because I loosened this up. And look at that. And I think I'm gonna do the same thing to this front section here. And, I got a few more containers of glue, so I'm okay. Cyanoacrylate, again, as I mentioned before, repetition for emphasis and retention. Don't use a lot of this stuff. Don't use a lot of this. You just need to glue two surfaces together of similar materials. All it needs is a thin layer of glue to accomplish that. You don't need to giddy glop it all over the place. And I'm going to go ahead and dual purpose this particular glue. Just really lather and slather it on. Make sure this post is as centered as I can get it. Like that, the stuff already wants to set. Okay, go perfect. I'm doing some on my fingers too. And of course, I know where it's going from. I put it there. It's definitely not cockeyed. You get this crap everywhere. Okay. I get this little pink disc. Flash colored disc. Put that on there like that. That will stay. Oh no. Oh shucks. Usually wearing a work shirt instead. Shoot. I'm wearing this shirt. This is not working. I don't like that slamming like that. Okay. Alright, like I said, folks, anything and everything can and will happen. X-ray fighters are not movable.
Deployed. 1 second.
Just again, sparingly using the material. Okay, good. Oh boy. I'm Lewa.
You've seen it.
Again, I not obeying my own rules.
Deployed. We have a lead.
Good riddance. Through the it's getting a little dark. Okay, so what I am going to do. Okay, so for whatever reason this is not taking, it is not drying. And I'm upset. Anyway, just gonna put that down there like that. Wow, what a mess. What a mess. Yeah, I'm telling you, every time this stuff just gets all over the damn place. Okay, we're gonna drill a couple more of these. Wrong direction. Get more material from this plate, so we'll put it back in storage. The rest of the other spare materials. Alright. This is the ugly part. We're done with the steak. We'll put that in storage. The mighty green bin. Alright, here we go. Not a very good scrolling in front of I'm telling you. I'm a little upset, but I'll manage. It's a lack of caffeine, I don't know. Come on, baby. And this is not the ideal material. I'm thinking plastic. I should have kept that plastic. I had gray polycarbonate. I just needed the cash, so I had to return it. I also want to inquire about G10 from Paradigm Plastics or whatever place. This is called. Okay.
That's my jacket. No. You've been mad,
So, okay, so in cutting these two discs, it seems as if we got one good one.
I'm sorry.
Finn's familiar with the weapon that destroyed the Osnian system. He worked on the base.
We're desperate for anything you can tell us.
That's what
Yeah, you gotta help him, buddy. Oh my God.
Very scary.
That's too chewed up.
So bright.
Well,
I regret to inform you, but this map recovered from BB-8 is only partially complete. And even worse, it matches no coordinate system on record. We simply do not have enough information to locate.
alright, well, 2 discs was enough, so you might have to toss the other one. It's no loss, so you need it anyway. So here's where we're at. Unfortunately, as far as my plans to leave a cavern or a space in the very tip of the rocket for the counterweight, we're gonna have to achieve center of pressure via some other means. Perhaps a future model will be able to employ my ideal design, but for now, this one is not going to be able to do that. So, okay, Surah, better luck next time, etc., etc., etc. But I just want to keep you guys on board. Wow, boy, I make a mess. Boy, this is making a mess. I'm going to do this outside. They can't kick me out of my own bedroom. My goodness. I was kicked out of Fairview Park in Costa Mesa High School, and kicked out of Industrial Park on 18th in Superior, where a plumbing supply store was. I've been kicked out of 1, 2, 3 Home Depots, 1 Lowe's. So it's like, you know, interesting to note about California and Californians, they want to challenge themselves on a daily basis to reaffirm with least of themselves, their own minds and hearts, that they're not cowards, which they are, by telling a perfect stranger what to do at least once a day. Swear to God, come to California and find out for yourself. I swear to God, if I'm lying, I'm dying. Come to California and find out. Somebody's going to just come up to you out of the blue. They have no authority to talk to you. They won't even introduce themselves or be polite. They'll say, you can't park there. I have to ask you to move. I'm with the police. And they'll be plain clothes. There'll be a Karen or a Kevin, and they'll just walk up to you and tell you what to do. And all you have to do is look at them. So I'm sorry, I'm out of state. I don't understand what you're saying. I have to leave my car there. I'm stay away from it. I have to go do something. Goodbye. And just turn around and walk away from them. Don't engage a Californian Karen. Don't engage a Karen or a Kevin from California in an argument. It's like talking to a barking dog. But it's just the funniest thing. Come to California at least once a day. Every single cowardly Californian has to come up to a perfect stranger and tell them what to do. It's like they challenge themselves to do that. It is the most backwards, most mentally and socially obtuse thing I've ever seen. But God's honest truth is, it happens. So you live in California long enough, you notice the patterns. But anyway, oh, God, what a villain! What a dropping bomb. You know, I just kind of sad to see how some people just don't know what they're doing with movie franchises. Oh well, is that a copyright infringement? I hope not. Anyway, I just kind of sand this disc down. Got this glued to the end of this and that. I don't really have to glue it. I'm just going to run a nut and bolt on this and grind, cut the tip. Oh, I made a lot of mistakes. Serves me right for not planning. Anyway, let's put this next to the drill. And this guy is going to go back over there. I need to cut loose that other charging cord of the longer one. I really need that. Anyway, and this t-shirt is decimated, so I don't like it anyway. It's too small. I'm just going to throw it out. All right, folks. So we didn't make much headway. At least we got the holes drilled in the lower anchor spool. We got some more work on the nose section done. I am happy about the fact that it just seems to me like because I got things loosened up, I was able to center both of these posts, which is important. So I'm going to glue this up and wrap this up. I think that at this point in time, when I sand this thing down, I may have enough daylight left today to start painting this bad boy. But then again, if I don't have anything to stand the rocket up on while I'm painting it, then I'm going to have to show you folks how to build a paint stand for rockets. So, anyway, all right, we'll talk to you guys later. My name is Jason Wampler. It's been another episode of the Rocket Minute, and it never takes a minute, and it's never a short episode because we're finishing at the 1 hour and 26 minute mark. Okay, you guys take care. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye bye.